Wonderful
And,
2024.
and the final and the last thing to kick off the new year and to begin the year 2025, let's head to the Sugar Bowl down in New Orleans, Louisiana.
I give Ryan Day props, and you don't say anything about that.
Nope. Marcus Freeman in the seventh
Ice
seed.
cold.
Yep. Marcus Freeman in the seventh seed at Notre Dame Fighting Irish going against the number 2 seed and the SEC champion Georgia Bulldogs. 8:45 ESPN. No Carson Beck. Gunnar Stockton is leading the Bulldogs on this playoff run. And Marcus Freeman, I'm about to trigger a button in Cole Johnson, despite losing in week 2 of the season, has decided to destroy everybody else by double digits, including last Friday.
Congratulations to Marcus Freeman. This is obviously the best season Notre Dame has had, probably since they played against Alabama for the national championship 12 years back.
Oh Lord.
Uh, I'm
Why you
sorry.
brought him up? Because he was on a freaking Netflix thing Christmas Day.
Um, yeah. So yeah, Notre Dame, you had a wonderful season, Marcus. You've done a wonderful account for yourself. However, I still
And if
feel
anybody trying to figure out what I'm talking about, mental tail.
man, I tell you, yeah. Shout out to you for bouncing back from the catfish, but I digress. Um,
The invisible one.
hmm but I still believe, if you will, that Notre Dame should still be punished for losing at home to Northern Illinois. Yes, I know you boat raced Purdue. You boat raced Navy in the Bronx. I get it. I
Boat race
understand.
Florida State, boat race
Boat raced
Army.
Florida State. Boat raced Army. You pimp slap USC. I mean you have gone through everybody.
You gave you
Stanford,
gave you gave a gentleman sweep to Indiana in the playoffs,
and then you get to Indiana and you beat them. You beat them in the playoffs. Wonderful job.
but you still hold on to that Northern Noodles.
They should pay the price. There is no way they should have lost that game to them. I just can't believe it. But yes, I understand that Notre Dame has an agreement with the college football playoff and committee where they have where if they have 0 or 1 loss, they will be invited to the playoffs. So I get they only have 1 loss in the season, so they earn their way there. Fine, I get that. I just think they should get punished for losing to Northern Illinois of all
But they
teams.
boat raced everybody else. And like they lost to Northern Illinois and they were squeaking by games. They were pump slapping other teams.
Oh yeah, they were.
Jeez.
When they when
Remember, we talked earlier about Alabama needed a wake up call against Vanderbilt, but they needed another one against Oklahoma. Northern
yeah.
Illinois was their wake up call for Notre Dame, and they ain't getting no wake up call ever since.
Well, yeah, you raise a really good point because man, when they got a hold of Purdue and they put 65 on them, woo, man. Yeah, I think all kidding and joking aside, Notre Dame earned their way here, and they are one of the 8 best teams in college football.
I want all you ADs and all you coaches to understand what Marcus Freeman did. Yeah, he lost to a MAC team,
Hmm.
but guess what he did on the back end? Well, since we lost this game already, we want to smack everybody else. And guess what they did? They smacked everybody else.
I'm about to say they on the back end backhanded everybody else. Treated
That's how you overcome a loss.
they treated every other opponent like hoes, and Notre Dame were pimps. Uh,
Kellen the
yep.
boy, do you get the message?
So yeah, they are one of the 8 best teams in college football. There's no debating it. Notre Dame did not get handed the position. This isn't one of those years where it's like, oh, they got by because of their name and their prestige. No, they got there because they were whooping up on teams. They whooped up on teams in ACC. They whooped up on teams in the Big Ten. So yeah, and to boot, of course, they whipped two of the service academies. So
By
and
the way, one of them is a conference champion. By the way,
I was gonna say one was a conference championship, the other was ranked. So
and the other one beat the other conference champion.
right, and so Army and Navy were not having. They weren't having one of those. Oh well, they're cool. They're sweet. I'm glad they're competing. I'm glad they're fighting, and I'm glad they're fighting for our honor. But good lord, they suck as a football team. They weren't having that type of year. Neither one. They were actually really having really good gridiron
Actually,
seasons,
to
and
be
Notre
honest
Dame
with you,
both raced them both.
they both was undefeated when they played Notre Dame.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They were actually having strong football seasons, and Notre Dame took care of business. So I can't really say that Notre Dame got handed this position. They earned it. So I'm proud of them earning it. Uh, but I'm also proud that they get a chance to play against a team where I would have to say for the last 5 years, I think they are the most championship pedigreed of them all. Yes, I know that we're not dealing with the same squad that 2 years ago won the national championship. I get that, but you're still dealing with the same coach at Kirby Smart, and he's learned a lot of lessons from bumping his toe against Alabama in the SEC championship and in the national championship against them one year. Uh, he got a chance to see how it felt to repeat. Got a chance to see how it felt when when his team couldn't live up to the hype, which was last year. And this year, I think this is one of his best coaching performances because this was not the greatest of Georgia teams.
No,
Uh,
you escape a couple of games here.
I'll go Cam Newton on this. Let's keep it a buck. This isn't the greatest of Georgia teams. Um,
You scraped by Florida
yeah, yeah.
only
You had a
because
strong,
DJ Ladway got hurt.
yeah, a strong fourth quarter to beat Georgia, to beat Florida. You needed a strong fourth quarter to beat Tennessee in your building. You needed to have what was it, 6 overtimes to beat Georgia
Eight
Tech,
over
or eight
eight over eight.
to
That
beat
game
Georgia Tech.
that game started at 7:30. It didn't end to after midnight,
Yeah, so you needed multiple overtimes to beat Georgia Tech,
and that was
and
Black Friday.
and you had to come from behind double digits just to even get into overtime. So we're not talking about the best team or the best Georgia team that we have seen in a while. In fact, I'd say of the 5 years, this is the worst of them all.
And when you needed Carson back the most, all thing you need him to do was to hand the football to Travis Etienne for you to get past Texas
Yeah,
because he couldn't throw
worth a darn.
literally.
So you had to overcome a quarterback that, yeah, the team believes in him, but I think he shrunk at the big moments.
And
And I personally believe, and I don't really believe in this, but I personally think that if Beck were to have played that second half, I think Texas would have gotten Georgia because I think Sarkeesian would have had the mistakes that he would have made been overcome by the fact the defense solved Carson Beck. But Gunnar Stockton had to come in his place. Next man up. You have Georgia the number 2 seed and Texas number 5, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. But you know what?
going to stop in how he's going to feel. This Notre Dame defense is
I like their
ferocious.
defense.
This
I,
defense is ferocious.
I like the Fighting Irish defense.
They like to hit.
Yeah. Uh, I, I wanted to see how they were when they played against Texas A&M, and that's like in September, and
That was the first game of the year.
they were flying around the place. I
That
was
was the
surprised. I was like, they got athletes. I'm not used to seeing Notre Dame having athletes. And I think that's what threw me for a loop when I saw them. I was like, dang, they got athletes. Dare say defensively they could hang with an SEC team, and they did, and they beat them. So I liked how they looked in September. The defense actually looked pretty good in that L to Northern Illinois too, but the offense just couldn't take care of them. And the rest of the year, what can you say about that defense? I mean, they just dominated. And
I think outside of USC and Louisville, no other team scored 20 plus points.
yeah, I'm like, I'm seeing
And
athletes.
that includes the Texas A&M game because Texas A&M only scored, I think,
They
10 or
only go
something.
so they only scored a touchdown against them. So they only scored 7.
So,
But I'm like, I'm seeing athletes on defense. I thought they would, just corn-fed boys on the line, and
no, no.
you might have an athlete in the secondary, and you might have an athlete for a linebacker, and that would be it. No, not this year. Not this year.
And if,
Defensively, they
and
will
if
get with you.
love gets going,
Yeah, yeah.
eight carries. I'm going to say it
Yeah.
again 8 carries, 108 yards. That's all
He
he needed to do against Indiana.
he made in that touchdown romp. He made Indiana's defense look like they were stuck in cement. The explosion I saw him hit that hole.
Oh, and by the way, it was snowing in that game, by the way.
Right. The explosion through the hole that I saw him have, I'm like, wow. Okay, so
This is in snow.
yeah. So I had to understand when I'm looking at Notre Dame, I have to understand this is not your father's Notre Dame. This is not my father's Notre Dame. This isn't 3 yards in a cloud of dust. This isn't just corn-fed Midwestern boys. And they look up, get an athlete from Pennsylvania, an athlete from Florida, an athlete from California, an athlete from Texas. No, no, they got some studs on both sides of the ball. And Georgia has their work cut out for him. And they had their work cut out for him if Carson Beck was starting at quarterback. But they're doing it with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. Oh, the task is tough and the fight is real.
This might be. See, if you didn't have Ohio State or Oregon around two coming about, this would be the game everybody would be watching.
It would be. It would be because you got two teams who Georgia defensively wants to get at you and get after you and smack you. You could succeed against them because they seem to at times make the big mistake, especially in the secondary. Uh, so you have athletes with Georgia, but they aren't as disciplined as I would like for them to be defensively. Notre Dame, on the other hand, they are. And so now the question I have is in this game, can Georgia match the intensity defensively of Notre Dame? Can that be matched? Because I want to see that battle be matched. I want to see Georgia like they did with Texas. I think they witnessed Texas wanting to smack them around when Georgia had the ball on offense, and Georgia defensively were up to the task to smack Texas around on offense too. That to me is where the battle is. Which defense is going to be more physical? Which
All right.
defense is going to be more disciplined? Which defense is going to make the offense their offense's job easier? That to me is the question. That's to me are the questions I will ask when it comes to Notre Dame versus Georgia.